Yo, 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 welcome back everyone to another Appreciating Comic Book Art video. This time we're looking at Tim Sale's Batman The Long Halloween #1. And if you watch this series for a little while, you know that I usually like to do #1s a lot because I feel like it's later on in the series, the artist has established a little bit more of a rhythm, how they want to draw a character, uh, depict the characters. For example, Jim Lee's run on Batman, the Hush storyline, I think is a perfect example of this because the first few issues, he drew Batman very kind of bulky, kind of Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller style. And as he went on, he slimmed him out, came in a little bit more ripped, a little bit more slim than he was kind of like that bulky brawler that he was originally depicting. That took Jim Lee, a little bit to get in the rhythm of how he wanted to depict Batman in that series. So I love jumping into issue ones because that's just the raw energy of you got all your prep done and now you're jumping into the storytelling. So you get right into it, and what is left is the first raw aspect before you start looking at things. You start tweaking stuff and changing as you go. Um, I just like it. It gives me more of an excitement as an artist to see where an artist starts to where an artist finishes. But there's just something about issue ones that really just gets me going when it comes to checking out their style, what their original vision was right off the bat, and how they were approaching telling the story from the script from the get-go. Now, I was looking for a video to do, an artist to look at that I hadn't done yet, because I don't want to retread too many of the same artists, because obviously I have a love for the artists that I show here. And I always want to look and do more videos, but I don't want them to get boring because there's only so many videos you can do with Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Todd McFarlane, Mark Silvestri, or Michael Turner, or all those guys, which I could do tons of series, and I've done some spotlight series with them before where I can just focus on more and more of their works. But I try not to do a certain artist too often close together. So I hit up my buddy and the co-host of the Ott and Stuff show, Fridays at 8:30, Mr. Sean Arendt, and I was like, give me somebody to look at. And so he's like, you ever thought about checking out Tim Sale, the Batman Long Halloween? I was like, perfect, I'm going to do it. So here we go, we're going to roll. But before we do, if you like this channel, you like these videos, you like the content, if you like the sound of my sexy voice, then please subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell for notifications, and share it with your friends and family. All right, let's move on. Tim's style is one of those styles that I was not into when I was younger. I'm just going to throw it out there right now because I liked the more kind of the hyper realistic stuff that you saw with like Jim Lee or Mark Silvestri and all those guys. I liked a lot of the detail, a lot of the cross hatching. And Tim's style is a little bit more simplistic, if you want to put it that way. It always kind of reminded me of like Frank Miller, especially like the Sin City stuff that Frank Miller would do later on after his rise to stardom. But this stuff is, and I've said this before, it's hard to do and to make it look really good because Tim leans a lot into the shadows in this book, a lot of hard shadows, and it's pretty much all about storytelling. It's about placement of where your eye is being directed, less of the hyper detail of the surrounding backgrounds and muscles and cross hatching and all that stuff. So as a kid, I would look at this and I'd kind of just be like, oh, it's not Jim Lee, I'm bored, and throw it away. And I wouldn't physically throw it away, but you know what I'm talking about. I wouldn't buy it, I wouldn't pick it up, I just kind of move on. But as I've matured as an adult and as an artist over the years, I've really learned to appreciate this style. I, for one, cannot draw in this style. I just can't do it. If I do it, it doesn't look right. So you have to have the eye and the know-how to be able to do stuff like this. And to this point, let me get back to this first page here. To this point, this, extremely simplistic, right? You got the shades of the window, the light coming through, showing the shadows of the shade and just hitting the wall or whatever. Maybe that's the window itself. And then you've got a very simplistic face, going down to the shirt collar, the gloves, the hat, and then we just have the silhouette fading into shadow, all in black, of the suit. Heavy shadows on the eyes and the nose, but it's very well done. It just brings you exactly to what you want to see. And in that point, a book like this probably could be drawn a lot faster for deadline's sake. But I think when you're doing a style like this, the storytelling is even much more important than when you're trying to wow everybody with hyper detailed art. Again, stuff like this, you're weighing heavy into the black and whites. I understand it's colored, but the point is you are using the black as a character in the book, and you're letting the light source kind of be the thing that establishes what we're looking at. In this panel, the thing that looks out, that gets the point across right off the bat is the eyes. This is just well done. For not a lot of detail, we all know it's a window shade. Without having to have all the creases, show the outside of the window, show any cracks, without having to David Finch it up or anything like that. You know exactly what we're looking at. Same thing with here, this great shot, and you want to throw in some of these foreground, like we're standing in and we're looking out and we're seeing this restaurant area, and you're looking through, like a 4A or whatever this happens to be. But it perfectly breaks up the page, especially with some of the white, that you leave in here to just make everything pop. And again, just the simplicity of everything. Well, yeah, sorry, it is the shades. I'm gonna take that back. I didn't even see his hand down here. It's like I said, it's been a long time since I read this book, and when I first read it, I didn't like it. So before I did this video, I flipped through it so I could kind of get my bearings on what was going on, and I missed that hand down there. So dropping the ball, that's what I do around here. But again, this is all about appreciating the comic book art. I'm not really getting into the storytelling or the story of it. We're gonna see it for what it is, and I'm gonna kind of learn as we go. So I'm learning as you're seeing this video. Because a lot of times I don't watch these freehand, except for this video, because I just want to take it in as the video goes. So again, just fun storytelling, heavy on the shadows, but everything just looks great. Nothing looks out of place. Everything just fits well. The blacks just carry you through. You're really pulling your eye to exactly what you want to see as you go through this book. I should mention this was written by Jeff Loeb, who is one of my favorite writers. Is one of my favorite writers. I just love his style. I love the stuff he does, specifically with Batman and some of the other stuff he did. He's done so much, but he's a great storyteller, and I think he works really good with any artist. Really gives the artist a chance to shine and do what they want. Stuff like this. Again, when I do, like these silhouette shadows, to me, I almost feel like I'm cheating because I haven't mastered it. Like guys like Tim Sale and Frank Miller, and I'm sure you can find a bunch of other artists that can really pull something like this off well, where exactly what this is. They're dancing. It's a guy and a woman dancing. The position. He's dipping her, and your eye just fills everything in. But it's just like this one giant shape, and then you have the background that is all detailed. Awesome. I absolutely love it. I wish I was better at it as an artist myself. Again, these were scenes I always wanted to learn how to draw too. Just perfectly using the blacks. That's what nowadays. Again, when I was a kid, I didn't like this kind of stuff. I didn't. It was boring to me. It just was. I didn't appreciate what it took to do something like this. But now, as an adult, looking back, I absolutely love it. There's sometimes I wish that I could draw like this, but I just can't. I can't do something that simplistic and not have to throw a bunch of detail in. And I think I would just make it look like crap. I'm just not as talented as guys that can do it like this. Storytelling, I love this. You get the sense of being hit in the head, and you're fading out as you go, and you throw the panels. The panels are just falling farther and farther until you hit, boom, black. I love that technique. It's funny actually that I'm seeing this, because there's a panel in the book I'm working on, or a page in the book I'm working on, where I wanted to have this kind of concept of like these falling panel patterns following the character as something has happened to that particular character in my book. So same thing, you're coming out of it as you're bringing it out. So you're going into it till it passes out, and you're coming out of the straight black. It's just, I love stuff like that. Creative ways of putting the page together. Let me just try. This is kind of a long book, so we're going to try to get through. Here we go. Heavy on the shadows again. These are pages that are going to be fast to get out, when you're on a deadline. So a style like this really helps out. But more than that, it's just the mood setter. Like you can put yourself, if this was a movie, you can put yourself in this scene and you can just see exactly how it's panning out. It's the dark of the night, and you just got shadows, and you're just following the shadows as they go. It's great, great storytelling. Tim Sale uses a little bit more of the grid patterns. Again, like I've said in the past, I like kind of like the floating patterns with anchor shots and all that kind of stuff better. But when you do a style like this, you have to make sure that you are progressing the story. And for a reader that is not inclined to like what I like, and they just want to read good stories, there's a lot of comic book readers out there that just want to read good stories. They don't care so much about the art. They're going to love something like this because it really builds it up. It builds the scene up, builds the tension, and then you get the great page turn. And here you go. You had close-up panels. They're fit tightly onto a page, and now you boom, double page spread. And that is just great. I love it. I love how just, there's no cross-hatching. It's just hard blacks, hard shadow lines, and just making everything pop. And the colors in this book too is it's very saturated colors. So when you have stuff kind of pop out like this, it really makes it look even better. I didn't even look to see who the colorist was. You'd have to look back and see, but I really like the feel of this book. Like I said, it really reminds me of kind of like the Sin City aspect of stuff. I love the way the artists depict Batman's cape sometimes. Crazy big, unrealistic, but it's a comic book world, people. It doesn't have to be realistic. We're talking about fantasy, so a guy could have a cape that's 15 feet long in one scene and then, much more manageable in the next. And we don't have to explain it. It just is what it is. It's cool. It's good visuals. Let's keep on rolling here. Just great art. Yeah, it's another great shot here. The perspective is so cool. And again, just solid blacks, but we know exactly what's going on. They're falling through the city on this epic chase. Kind of very reminiscent of when Jeff Loeb would do that Batman Catwoman chase in the first issue of the Hush storyline. Now that I think of it, except in that issue, it's Batman who falls and breaks his shoulder and all that stuff. We'll get into that if we ever get into those issues. But again, just very simplistic way of showing things, but we know exactly what it is. The brain fills it in, so you don't need all that hyper detail. Beautiful shot here, awesomely brought out by the red. Just man. And it's stuff like this, to have the idea that you want to put all the attention on this cool detail of the signs, and then we're going to throw Batman and Catwoman down here as almost like an afterthought. And you want to talk about moving your eye right through the page from top left to bottom right, and then we got a giant black spot here that really pulls your eyes here and then focuses right on Catwoman. I think if you use the black right, you can do some stuff like this, and it really pays off. Just beautiful work, absolutely gorgeous work. Great shot of Batman there, and you'll just see, like, we don't need all the hyper detail. You can get away with stuff if you know how to do it right. You can get away with stuff like this, and it's impactful. It makes sense because of the light source, so it's not necessarily just you're doing it for the sake of doing it. You're doing it because there's a focus. What's the focus on this panel? It's Batman. He's looking cool as shit. And then you've got the heavily shadowed Commissioner Gordon and this other dude. Again, it's like, I haven't read this book. Oh, it's Dent. There we go. Harvey Dent. But it's just well done. And it pulls your eyes exactly where it needs to pull it. And it's gorgeous technique. So I'd highly recommend checking out this series. And I'm going to get all of these books because, fortunately, this is one of the free books on the Comixology Unlimited. So I can get this entire run of The Long Halloween and read it again, and really this time dive back into it and appreciate it for what it is, which I didn't do when I was younger, and I should have. Because to just kind of discount art like this when I was younger, I think I did myself a disservice um, as a younger man when it comes to learning different techniques and learning different styles and seeing how storytelling is done, as opposed to just wanting to see the flashy art right away. Awesome shot here. Love how the red pops out. You know, we fade into this black and white. It really makes the scene, the mood change. It really makes the impact of this final page really pop out of your face. And yeah, it's a longer book than I thought. So, oh man, it's such a cool shot. Wow. I don't think I caught this when I was flipping through it before. That is very cool. Very cool. All right, let's try to get through this real quick. There we go. Last shot, last page. House blowing up. Awesome dynamic with the door and these jack-o'-lanterns flying at you. Again, very hard shadows. Very Mike Mignola is, I can't talk today, as well. You know, it's Mike had that style. And, you know, we're gonna do a video on Mike's art, doing some of the Hellboy stuff as well, because it's very much all of this reminiscent of those kind of styles, and guys like that pull it off so well. They make me jealous of how damn good they are at their craft. So, whoa, jeez, that was a longer video than I thought it was going to be. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm sorry I kept you longer than usual. If you like this channel, like the art, please check it out. Subscribe, like it, hit the bell for notifications. Check out the Odd and Stuff show on Fridays at 8:30 on the Odd and Stuff channel. All the links will be in the bottom. And until next time, I'll talk.